So Madhavi, to begin with, I mean, I've sort of seen a bit of the journey of the making of the film. But if you could take us through the entire journey, I know that you've worked on it for a very long time. So tell us why that was, and what were the various sort of stops on the journey along the way.
So after my film school, I went back to Mumbai, and I had a lot of free time with me, and I said I can make myself useful to the world by fostering animals. So one dog came, and the second dog came, the third dog came, and people knew that I had a lot of free time. So at 1 in the morning, they would say that a dog has been abandoned somewhere in that area. You just accompany the ambulance and drop the dog at the shelter. So I didn't mind a night ride. So during one of these occasions, the ambulance driver, he said, we were traveling late at night, maybe at 2:30 in the morning, and he suddenly stopped the vehicle and he said, just take some time out and watch that lady. And this is what I saw. This is what I saw in that moment where she was feeding animals by herself, constantly going chatter, talking to them, and they also talking back and everything. So I said, it was around that time where I was introduced to this parallel city in Mumbai, which was operating along WhatsApp groups, where each area would have a WhatsApp group of animal lovers, and if there's an animal in distress, you put a photograph there and they come and rescue. And with each passing day, it became very fascinating because none of these people have ever met each other. They would connect via via WhatsApp and sometimes on Facebook, and one person would go and help the other person, and the dog would get help as soon as possible. So I said this has to be documented, and I was already in the process of imagining a book around this entire activity. And suddenly Muneera came into the picture. I met other animal feeders, and she was closest to where I was staying. It's Asin, she was very close, so it's easier to travel back and forth. And yeah, the first 1 year, I was just trying to catch up with her, trying to complete the walk. She would start at 10:30 in the night and end up at 5. And by 12:30, we would start making excuses, पैर में दर्द हो रहा है, पेट में दर्द हो रहा है, हम चल नहीं सकते. So eventually, after about 8 months, we literally completed the walk. And then the camera came in, and then a lot of things happened. So, yeah.
So for how long a period of time was this? How many sleepless nights did you spend with Muneera?
2 years. 2 years.
And you filmed for 1 year. So the first year was spent basically
See, I was just basically waiting for moments. On days when I had some energy, I would just pick up my bag and just walk with her. Initially, the Mumbai police was very apprehensive. 2 women walking at 3 in the morning with a camera. They were very, very apprehensive. They would have a beat marshal go around following us to ensure that we are back. So then eventually, when Films Division came on board, things became easier because there was this one letter which Sarkari Mohar saying that, let them do their work. I'm making this film for the government of India. So slowly the police also started warming up, and they would start missing us on chais at 3 in the morning. So yeah.
So you were planning to make a film about this alternative world, like you said, of animal lovers, animal helpers. But eventually the film is just about Muneera. At what point did you decide that you wanted to just look at her and not the larger spectrum of people?
The battles are more or less the same. Battle with oneself, battle with the immediate family, the community, then the system of animal care, and the city itself. So I just felt a very strong connect. she would give me a lot of confidence to walk at night. Like, initially I will, like, to add some heavy words here, like, night, as I was sharing with somebody, nights are institutionalized. Like, there is an aura about night which is fearful, which is dangerous. And then night after night after night, you are pointing the camera and you're just holding on to that moment where you're seeing more because there's less traffic, there's less movement around. So you're looking at a world which for some strange reason you have stopped yourself. And at that hour of the night, Muneera would train me how to take a walk. Like, how do you take a walk at night? So, yeah, so it was more or less.
So do you remember instances, from walking the night with her, where certain things that happened that made you uncomfortable, or was it sort of fairly even through it all?
Yeah, the nights are beautiful. I think we all should, like, nights are very beautiful. They are, yeah, and strange things happen. Like for me, it was not, I was more concerned about my colleague who was going back home late. So I wrote to a very senior filmmaker saying that I am very apprehensive, I'm scared that, I'm putting the crew at risk. She said, just shut up, like if something happens, we'll look into it. So it just got that buffer at every step when there was a doubt about like entering into the space. There were people intervening and ensuring that the film was made. And one of them is Sophia Polytechnic. So yeah.
Tell us about Muneera. There's not too much context that the film gives her. She really does seem like a sort of figure of fantasy in a sense. She appears and you don't know too much about her, where she comes from and her family and things like that. That was obviously a very conscious decision, but I'm wondering why.
It's very odd, but she didn't give me the footage. And after a point of time, I refused to get footage from her. The most obvious footage कि आप दिन में क्या करते हो? आपको पैसे कहाँ से आते हैं ये करने के लिए? That I think most of the people, the first question is what does she do in the daytime? She sleeps. She catches up on rest and she starts work. And so where does she get the money to do this? So these were never my anxieties to inquire into. And she also was not bothered to give. And after some time, I didn't push my agenda. For me, it was more important that she doesn't fit into the narrative of my argument, what I want to explore in the film, but rather she emerges as an individual. So for me, it was more like, trying to get to know her in the process.
How much footage did you have and how did you find, because it seems like you've obviously filmed with her over a very, very long period of time. So how did you decide finally what to choose, what not to choose? Tell us about that process of editing.
There are different versions of this film. Like there are 5-6 versions of this film, like with different timelines and edits. And somewhere I had to stop, like that this is it, like And even today I was like putting my head down and said, oh shh, like I should have got that scene. So I'm holding myself back to another cut. So it has been a learning process for me also, because I shot over a bit of, I said, like 2.5 years and had like 140 hours of footage. So for me, how do you bring in a sense of discipline in the process of making a film like this?
And how do you even decide which film to make? Because different days would have given you different kinds of films.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. How did you finally decide that this film that you wanted to make and no other?
Urban Lens said there's a deadline to send the film. So okay, I go to this timeline and this is, so yeah, that is it.
Any questions from the audience? It's a very intriguing film. I'm sure people will have lots of questions.
I'm happy. No questions.
मैं कहना चाहती हूँ,
हाँ हाँ
बैंगलोर में मैंने आपकी फिल्म ढंग से नहीं देख पाई थी और अभी देखा।
एक मिनट।
बहुत कुछ समझ आया, वो जो मिस कर गई थी वो अभी पूरा देखा, तो थैंक यू इतनी सुंदर फिल्म बनाने के लिए और सबको समझाने के लिए कि जो शेख भी कहते कि सब इंसान हैं, तो एक्चुअली वो, तो थैंक यू, लवली फिल्म फॉर मी।
थैंक यू विष्णु। हाँ जी।
There have been cases in cities of children being bitten by stray dogs. I myself was encircled by dogs, and it's a pretty fearful situation. So, is there a position about this also?
I come from the school of thought that it's very important that we have a good sterilization program in any city. It is better to have 5-6 dogs in a community who are taken care of, who are healthy, who are vaccinated, than having 20 dogs with very less food and falling ill. And I think it is not the burden of the NGOs. It has to be a collective effort. And I think in an urban space, the conflict becomes more and more intense. And the sensationalization also becomes more and more intense. So it is, for me, that's why in Delhi you have a very strong collective of animal lovers who intervene if there are issues. So I think population control is one of the ways one could explore this.
Any other questions? Tell us a little about the little exchanges that happen on the roads, whether it's people who are discourse favorably towards Muneera or otherwise. So when you were filming these things, whether it's the taxiwala who, it seems like because he's seeing the camera is not really, objecting to taking the dogs in his cab, or whether it's, that gentleman in the neighborhood saying, why are you doing this, and so on and so forth. What was, the attitude of people around Muneera towards your filming team and towards you? Were they intrigued? Were they looking at you in a hostile manner? Or were they putting on their best, sort of behavior at times because they knew a camera was around? Do you think that was making a difference in the way in which Muneera was being approached or was being dealt with?
Because of that hour of the night, there were not too many witnesses. And the camera crew was very minimal, 2 people. Sometimes only me, sometimes 3 people. So we didn't immediately get any queries, what are you doing? Except one night when one man came and stopped the shoot and said, we'll get the cops. And I said, yeah, let's get the cops. Let's see where this goes. And later I realized that he actually wanted to conduct the interview of Muneera on camera. That one 10-minute fascination of conducting a Doordarshan interview, why have you come here? And then I said, this is golden footage, my interview is done, I get to know everything. So it was a very humorous intervention. It was not a threat. People did not bother.
We don't see that interview in the film, do we?
Yeah, no, it's the other version of that.
You want to watch the other version now?
No, it's a hilarious, I have it on Google Drive, it's a hilarious scene where you feel that there is a threat, this man is coming to stall the shoot and he's getting people to beat you up, and the sound recorders has already packed up his equipment and and suddenly you realize that he says, can you just lift the camera and ensure that I am I said no. Then he says yes, yes, no. And then he goes ahead and conducts Muneera's interview. So, yeah, it like strange things like at 2:30 in the morning, two young people coming and talking to the camera about real estate in Bombay and like why Mumbai is a city where auto rickshaw licenses are not issued, and it's a different film. Like there was one man who would constantly do yoga through the night, he would just be doing the asanas, and that was spooky. You go and ask him, what are you okay? And then he says, I'm a taxi driver, I met with an accident and I have a backache, I cannot sleep. So only when he does this yoga throughout the night and just gets a half an hour sleep. So those are the interventions. That's a different film. So that's where you have the
It
extra.
all sounds like there's this parallel universe, and you could actually make another film of people who populate this parallel universe.
Yes, it's almost mythical.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
We wrap if there are no more questions.
Yes, thank you for patiently watching the film. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.